Hey guys, so I'm going to be talking about Indiana Jones, the three films that we had to watch, and its relation with myth, ritual, religion, and even magic. And so those are all themes very prevalent in each of the films, some more than others, but nevertheless they're there, and at times very obvious. Obvious. So to start off with the Raiders of the Lost Ark, we see the staff and this ark, kind of two things that really stood out to me and were kind of very obvious for me as symbols. We see this magical staff, so we're already starting to see magic play a big role in the film. So here, if placed in the right area, at the right place at the right time, it's said to um, lead Indiana Jones straight to the temple where the Ark is being held. So now we have these two groups. We have Indiana Jones and we have this group of Nazi held, led by Bellic, and Bellic wants to is going on this similar journey to get the Ark before personal empowerment. He wants to see how it feels to have this, this eternal power once he has obtained the lost Ark. And then Indiana Jones obviously wants to get it to kind of keep it from getting into his hands. So now, the main thing about the lost Ark is that it must be treated with respect and have the right intention. So when it's opened by Bellic, you see instantly that, with great graphics, by the way, that the Nazi group starts to melt and they die. So, um, what Indiana Jones, which here is what's pretty interesting, Indiana Jones doesn't really believe in that magic. excuse me, of dying if you look into the arc, but he is very much aware of it, and he's able to extend that knowledge to Marion, which helps them survive that whole event. So I guess a um, ritual aspect with regards to the ark is that it said that um, some sort of prayer or ritual should take place before the ark is even opened. Um, and then, of course, the magic is that once it's opened, and anyone who actually visualizes or stares into that fog or those spirits that were lifted in from the ark, they would die. So now, with regards to the Temple of Doom, here we see a very dark and rich and ritual film. So here we see human sacrifice. We see um, those five stones that are very symbolic, that are both very symbolic and evident with ritual. So with respect to the human sacrifice, here we see the human sacrifice, the drinking of the blood, putting them into this dark sleep, and all of that being very ritual based. And then we have the stones. The stones kind of go hand in hand with this the law of similarity, where I think um, the stones kind of parallel the king in its death. So in the film, once the stones are stolen, the that's the kids are kidnapped, the crops start to die, and the water starts to disappear. And then once the stone is returned, and then once the king is either another king is appointed or the king comes back to life, if that even happens, then the land starts to become prosperous again. So that's the ritual and the ritual and the myth behind it. So the ritual would be actually keeping the stones safe, and then the myth would be that once they're kept safe, and if you ensure that they're kept safe, then you will also ensure that the land is prosperous and fertile. Now with regards to the Last Crusade, here the main thing I believe is the Holy Grail. What was I thinking? The Holy Grail. So here we also have excuse me, a Nazi, and then we have Indiana Jones, and they're both going to want to get to the point of drinking from the Grail. Now the Nazi obviously wants to get the Grail and drink it for his own eternal power, and he wants to live forever. And then Indiana Jones, obviously, once again, just like the Ark, is trying to save that from happening. Now, an interesting thing that we see here, and we can kind of relate this to the rites of passage, and is that Indiana Jones ends up drinking from the Holy Grail, which is supposed to give him eternal life. But the interesting thing we see here is that um, we have we have Indiana Jones' journey, and we have this separation of his dad. So we see in that clip that his dad ends up dying. So what does he have to do? He has to go get the Grail, the right Grail, uh, and drink it to kind of, and then we see him kind of revive his father. So I guess like the major thing to get out of, well, I guess personally, out of the three films is I never really saw it with this point of view of kind of trying to dissect the mythical and ritual and this magical aspect. So I was actually able to enjoy it a lot more because I think I've seen two of them. I didn't see Raiders of the Lost Ark. I saw the Last Crusade and I saw Temple of Doom. But yeah, now looking back at it with this mindset of trying to see where myth and ritual kind of takes place is very exciting and it was very interesting. Hope you enjoyed.